Throws it to Wales. Wales through a goal. Slots it beyond Foderingham. And the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box to Doffin. He can hit them. And he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Welcome to another away defeat that we are going to talk about today. We will talk about it, see if we can identify the issues that are happening at the moment. Thankfully, we have another game to talk about. That's the bonus. We have another game to look forward to in a couple of days' time. But this was at home, you see, so that'll be different. Hopefully, I really hope it'll be different. Nightmares to talk about in Cardiff, South Wales. The weather held up, thankfully, this time, which was nice for Cardiff fans to get through it, a full game. And they took the 3 points, sadly for us. Mick's with us. How are you doing, Mick?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you. Are you?
Yeah, probably football.
Yeah, some football. With the exception of football, both proper football and American football for me at the moment. Other than that, I'm happy.
Yeah. Danny, how are you doing, mate?
I'm currently recovering from food poisoning from the Cardiff City Stadium, so that's fun.
Oh. We'd like to slam them. You have a platform, then you can slam them their food catering outfit if you want to.
Well, I had their hot dog and I thought, this is an interesting taste to it. Turns out there was something badly up with it, and was up most of last night. I had to call in sick to work, and I suspect it's food poisoning from that, because that's the only thing I had different to other people, and they were all right. And I've been in bed most of the day. That's fun.
Yeah, Cardiff.
Cheers, Cardiff.
We should reverse the fixture because of that. Replay it. That's what I say. I do love your commitment, though, Danny. You had to phone in sick to your real job, but you still made it for 10 police hours. I really appreciate that commitment. That is very good.
I've got safety at home, I suppose.
True. Very true. Let's move on quickly. Gav Grundy's with us. Says, evening all. Something's got to change soon. Steve Grundy is with us as well. Says, yet another without a game away without a point. I feel for our hardcore fans who travel four corners of England and Wales, and for what? Connor Simpson is with us as his YouTube user, and Aaron. John S says, we'll come on to this. Love to know which game Taylor went to. Signs of improvement. Chris Taylor, Dave Lawton, IFC 19 are with us. I will come on to John S's other comment in a moment. Nicola Jew says, hello, she was at the game yesterday and spotted Danning having a pint and felt starstruck. Should have asked for a photo. Might have been a good job you didn't, to be honest with you, as it turns out. But yeah. Say hello to Danny next time. He's quite a nice guy, I think.
Quite a nice guy, excuse me. No bother. I don't bite. Come and say hello. I'm happy to have a picture with people. I mean, I'll just be as awkward as you are because I'm not used to people asking for pictures, and it's a bit really of me with me in the picture, not me taking the picture of you. Interesting. But yeah, come along, say hello. I don't mind talking football with anybody.
Absolutely. Sian Sukumar is with us, as is Scott Kent, and Ant from the Leicester Fan Channel is also with us. Right, Mick, let's start because Matt Taylor said there were signs of improvement. I don't have the exact quote from him, but that's basically what he said. And if I take a step back, I can see that, and I understand what he's saying compared to the Millwall game, because the Millwall game was so bad it had to be an improvement, and we looked better defensively than the Millwall game. That's all I can say for improvement, though. We were slightly better defensively.
I kind of wish you'd not come to me, because I'm a bit sort of. I'll never call it master. I agree with Matt Taylor.
Okay.
I agree with Matt Taylor. I think there was a significant improvement over the Millwall game, particularly. I mean, that's not, like you said, that's not difficult. That is not difficult at all, because we were just so bad. There's a significant improvement over the Huddersfield performance. There's a significant improvement over the Stoke performance. So why everybody's getting on the high horse and saying there weren't a significant improvement is a bit confusing to me, in my opinion, because it is about opinions, obviously. There was, we went away from home. We kept them under control for a good 60 minutes. They had nothing. They did nothing. They created nothing. And whatever they did create, we dealt with reasonably well. We created nothing. I accept that. However, we kept them under control, not an issue, until obviously they finally managed to break through, to get the breakthrough. At which point, we probably started to create a little bit more than we had done previously. Not much, I accept. But when you go away from home, particularly at this level, you need to be keeping teams under control, don't you? And we managed to do that, I think, anyway. Look, it's not ideal. It's not ideal because of the way we performed in the previous games away from home. But if you do take a step back, and some people pull the teddies back into the cot and have a little sit down, you'll realise that we weren't as bad as people are making out. I don't think. But, I know I'm going to get slated for it. I know I'm going to get some earache for it. I know I'm going to get earache in comments and probably on social media about what game were you watching and everything else. It's still not good enough. I'm not saying it's good enough. I'm not by any stretch of anybody's imagination it's not good enough. But it was significantly better than probably any of the other away games, possibly with the exception of Sunderland.
Yeah. I mean, Mick's probably right, Danny. Technically, it was better. Technically, but that's only because of the games we're talking about. And then maybe it's one of those games.
It weren't. It's not technically either it were or it weren't.
Well, it was, yeah, but it wasn't good. The way Matt Taylor said it made it sound as if it was a good performance, but it wasn't. It was just better.
I don't agree with that, Matt.
You don't think? I didn't. I see what you're saying, but we were never, ever, ever going to win that football game the way we played. That was never going to happen. We were never going to score. We were certainly never going to score first anyway. Danny, chip in.
The thing is, you're gonna score if you have shots on target, and we had the square root of naff all shots on target in that game. But the one thing I do agree with Matt Taylor is for the first hour, it was an improvement. Fair enough, I admit in the first half, it's like actually, you know what? It's better. It's still not good, but it's better. Like you say, Matt. It's when you compare that first half against the entire performance against Millwall, we did improve. But and then for like the next 15 minutes in the second half, it's like actually we've still got Cardiff at arm's length here. And then we turned into Rotherham against Millwall for end of game, and towards the end, like when we started pressing chances, I swear it was mad doing this because we were doing bugger all until I screamed as loud as I can, press the ball at the team, and then suddenly all light bulbs went off and they were pressing ball and having attacks. It's like, Christ, they've heard me. You know what I mean? But we were only doing that after 80 minutes, and it shouldn't take us 80 minutes to suddenly switch on like, oh, we should be pressing the ball. We might have a shot at goal. And we did get a shot at goal. All right, fair enough. It came off the bar. But it was suddenly like all lights came on, and we showed again what we are actually capable of if everyone's firing correctly. And the mentality's there of, right, we're going to try and get something now. But it happened too late in the game. It's like I thought he brought Georgie Kelly on too late in the game with him partnering next to Appiah. Not Appiah, sorry. Nombi. I'm so annoyed I'm forgetting which player's which now. But that seemed to work. I thought Hugo was fairly ineffective in the second half. He just got ragged about everywhere. Yeah, exactly. He got ragged about everywhere and got nothing. And it's getting to the point now where it's like if he's not getting anything and he's not being effective, he has to come off. And I think Kate Taylor made the right call in bringing him off and brought Nombe on to ask him a different question. But I think maybe the lesson learned there is to bring Nombe and Kelly on as a double sub potentially, because then it completely shakes it up. But it shouldn't take me yelling at the player taking the corner, come on, Andre, a bit right on this one. And suddenly, there's art on the corner and it's in the 6-yard box. And we actually challenged for headers rather than it not meeting first man. You know what I mean? Like, I get Matt Taylor in director's box, but I would tempted to go and stand outside at pitch and just go, right, you come and press him and don't just stand there and let them have the ball. You know, I think it was Ian It was Ian who sent me this on Twitter. We've had a total average of 31% possession away from home this season and about 6 shots on target total in 5 games.
Does that mean we're not going to get possession points then this season?
No, well,
but it paints a picture, doesn't it?
No,
it paints a picture of we don't go and attack teams.
No, it doesn't.
It does. We never attacked Cardiff efficiently throughout the whole game. We held them at bay, but we never efficiently attacked them all game until the 80th minute.
I'm not saying we don't attack teams when we're away from home, because we don't. I'm not saying that that's what we do. I'm saying you cannot use possession stats as the basis for that. You can't. I'm just not wearing that whatsoever. Given the way that a lot of the teams in the Championship try to play, all they're interested in is possession. That's all they're interested in. Russell Martin, as you quite rightly point out there, it's all style, no substance. So you can't use possession stats as a weapon or as a reason why we've been crap. We've been crap because we've not attacked the opposition. We've been crap because we've not taken the game to teams. Nothing to do with possession stats. That's just
we haven't had the ball enough. But the possession is an issue because one of the things that we've talked about on here is that we do not look after the ball enough, especially away from home. And that possession stat does tell you something. You can take what you want from stats. We all know you can make a stat to look like a pig if you wanted to. But it does. We've talked about this podcast, and that those possession stats feed into what we've been saying. We need to look after the ball better. And we're not doing that, and we didn't do that yesterday either.
No argument with that at all. I have no argument with that. You're absolutely bang on right. We don't look after the ball well enough. And panic stations set in, particularly when we're away from home. Hardly ever when we're at home.
Yeah.
This was the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter is nothing to do with talent. It's nothing to do with ability. It's nothing to do with possession stats or anything else. It's to do with attitude and mental approach to playing away from home. It's become an issue. And we as supporters are making it a bigger and bigger and bigger issue. The more it goes on, the more we talk about it, the more it becomes an issue. The more they talk about it between themselves as players and as a coaching squad as well, a coaching team as well. So the more it continues, like I said, the more they talk about it, the more it continues. But that's where the issue lies. I ain't got a clue how to deal with it because I'm not a football coach. But
no. Well, you have to one of those games. If we'd have beat Millwall 1-0, we'd be talking about yesterday being one of those games where we tried to set up defensively and it just didn't quite work. It's because of all these other performances that it's getting on top of people, mate. Let's be honest. Let's say what it is. There's people travelled 8 hours yesterday, there and back, 4 hours there and back, wherever it is, and there's people who travel longer next Saturday at Southampton and pay hundreds of pounds. And we all know this is the risk. Me and Mick went to see Raiders last night. And I was stood there thinking that football and sport is one of those only sports where you pay to get something that you don't know what you're going to get. You just don't know what you're going to get. And that is the risk we all accept as fans. But it's getting tough. And social media is telling you, look at social media. I know some people are giddy, as soon as we lose a game anyway, but this is becoming an issue, a big issue now, and it's just tough. It's just like what's the point is the wrong word because there is always a point. But I just sat there yesterday thinking this is exactly what I expected, and I don't see where the improvement comes from away from home, and that's a really odd thing to say as a Rotherham fan.
It comes from a change in attitude, doesn't it?
If that's not come now, when will it come? That's the point.
It's what, sorry?
If that's not come by now, when is that going to come away from home?
Who knows? I don't know. If I had the answer to that question, I'd give tickets to away game, or not, as the case may be. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but certainly the answer isn't constantly slating everybody. That's definitely not the answer, but. That's social media, and it's like an infant school playground on there, isn't it? So it's just, and I get involved in it. I'm not calling people out. I get involved in it just as much as everybody else does. And and that's how it is. But look, yeah, as far as travelling away from home, as you quite rightly put there, Matt, we've travelled away from home for years and years and years, and we have seen some absolute garbage over the years, utter garbage, as well as had some unbelievable times. And a lot of those unbelievable times come after you've just watched 6 weeks of garbage, because
True.
It is what it is. That's football. That's football. And if you can't, I don't want to sound like a flipping old man, but if you can't handle it, maybe football's not for you. Because this is what happens. It's what happens. And I know there's got to be reasons behind it, and we all want to search for reasons, and everything else. But it will change. It will turn around. So you just got to be patient, I think.
Yeah. IFCO says we did better under Stubbs, which I don't think is true. I would bet money on that, but I could be wrong. John Rell says if it was an actual mentality thing, the finger needs to be pointed at the management. To be fair, into this season and no change or impact it is terrible. If anything, it looks worse now. Don't look great. Let's go through a few other comments. John Rell back. They haven't Birmingham as an example in possession haven't won a game with more than 41% possession. Ant says possession is only good if you're effective with it. The problem is we don't have possession and we're not effective with it is the issue.
And that's the big difference. You look at the two of the three teams that came down from the Premier League this season. You look at Leicester, who are excellent in possession. They maintain possession, but they're progressive with it.
Yeah.
You watched Preston last week, excellent in possession and progressive with it. You watch one of Russell Martin's teams, you watch the likes of Blackburn, and they're excellent in possession and do nothing with it. So the stats tell you nothing. They tell you nothing at all. Because when Leicester played Southampton, I think they both had 60% possession. You know what I mean? But Leicester did better with it because they did something with it. So it tells you nothing really. I don't think.
No. Shelley says, just because a few people are mentioning getting rid of managers, Shelley says, getting rid of a manager won't help, especially this early. And I agree wholeheartedly. You'll not see any of us backing a manager change in October, like we did last year, I suppose, forced upon us. You won't be getting any of us supporting that now, certainly. Let's talk about the goals, Danny. We had a comment here, which I have saved. YouTube says, Victor should have come for the cross that led to the goal. You can't blame Bramall, not a centre-half, and we were chasing the game. A couple of points here. First of all, I think Victor does share a little bit of the blame. I don't think it's not completely Victor's fault, but there is a degree of blame for Victor. There's a degree of blame for Limbakisa and I think Onyedimna, who was the right wing back at the time, for not closing the man down. He could have picked his spot. He could have done whatever he wanted for a minute, and then again, sadly, Bramall's got to take some responsibility as well because he's got to be better than that. It's a mixture of everybody's responsibility, sadly. Yeah,
I agree. There's 3 points of contact with conceding that first goal. There's no one individual completely at fault for it. We're just going back to the comment about we did better under Stubbs. Actually, points-wise, at this point in the season, yes. Because at this point in the season, we had 6 under Stubbs and we've got 4 at the minute. 5. So points-wise, marginally. Goals conceded, we were a lot worse under Stubbs, I will admit. We conceded 28 goals total when Stubbs left on the 15th of October. And I think this season we've conceded 18 so far. So we could still catch it. But I think at the 1st of October, again, Stubbs conceded more goals total. But anyway, going back to that point, yes, I agree. I think Limbakisa and Onyedimna, I think it's Limbakisa who doesn't close him down quick enough when the cross comes in. And again, it almost looks like we're scared to put the big challenge in because we've had the old faff about we getting yellow cards for daft reasons. It's almost like we're scared to put the foot in and put the slide tackle in because we'll get pulled up on it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're not the best at defending set pieces, but we've also not conceded a lot from them. You know what I mean? So it's like if you put the challenge in and they get the foul, we seem to be able to defend the set piece. Like when they had set pieces in the first half, we defended those really well. But in the second half, it almost seemed like we're scared to put the foot in and put the challenge in. And if Dexter puts the foot in or the slide tackle in, Lee Doherty might give the free kick because Lee Doherty.
It would change the ref, by the way. It weren't Doubt. It were that lad who's a Wednesday fan, James Webb.
Was it?
Like they changed it. Yeah, it definitely weren't Lee Doherty. They changed it anyway.
Anyway, okay, moving on. No wonder he didn't respond to me shouting, "Lee, end it now, please. I want to go home." But yeah, he may have given the foul away, but it still stopped it at source. And then, but he didn't do that, so the cross comes in, so it's next man up. Yeah, Victor could come out and claim it, but if Bramall's on his man, Victor's bound to stay at home because A, he doesn't want to clash with Bramall and there'll be a hash and it goes in anyway. And B, Victor, as a goalkeeper, has to trust his defence that they'll sort it out. And if he sees Bramall on his man, he must be of the mindset of, Bramall will try and will get to that. And like you said, Bramall in a centre-back, he gets out-muscled by their number 9. Etete. He did, to be fair. But Bramall gets out-muscled because he's not built like a centre-back. He's a left-sided wing-back, left-back, whatever. And, he just out-muscles him and scores. So there's things to be pointed at various people, but it doesn't drop on one person's shoulders at the same time. Like you said, Matt, there's 3 areas where we could have stopped that. We could have stopped it up the pitch by pressing in midfield a bit more, if we're taking that argument. But at the end of the day, they've scored a goal, and there were at least three errors in the build-up to it, and that's what led to the goal. It's frustrating as out because we were competitive up until that point, but as soon as they scored, you really saw all heads go down, not just on the pitch, but in the stands as well. It was like, it's like, oh, here we go again. And that feeds into the whole mentality thing. I think it's mentality on the pitch, but it's now becoming a mentality in the stands as well. That as soon as we see us concede first, it's like, oh, there we go. We're going to lose again. I mean, look at Sunderland. We scored first and still lost. And I think we are one of the highest losers of points from winning positions so far this season. Like, all right, fair enough. We've just ticked over into October, but it's still not the best stat to have so far, is it? Because it shows us issues that need sorting quickly if we're still going to be competitive. And like I said, Mick, about, we're people who are committed to this team and they want to see us do well, and they have gone through some bad times watching us, but now it's getting to the point of the mentalities seeping into the stands. So there are people having discussions of, well, why should we bother? We're going to lose anyway. You know what I mean? It's a shocking mentality to have, don't get me wrong, but I look at Southampton now and it's like, if we get battered at Southampton, I'll save me money. You know what I mean? It's a shocking mentality to have because I want to go every single week that I can. But it's like, why spend, 25 quid on a ticket and the same again on a coach to say, for example, Swansea, when we could be getting battered again? And that it's a shocking thing to have to admit, but that's coming from the performances we're seeing on the pitch, which is really bad. It's really bad. Even though there was an improvement, I admit, but it's still like, here we go again. And you get to that point where it's like, right, we're at 80 minutes, we're 2-0 down. It's like we could still snatch something, and we very nearly snatched a goal when it came off the bar. That was very, very close to going in. And that's the swings and roundabouts of football. If that had gone in, who knows what could have happened? We could have drawn 2-2 and put Cardiff on the back foot. You'd like to be once done, but but that's the thing you have. It just gets frustrating week to week. That's what it is.
Football is frustrating, though.
Yeah,
very frustrating.
It just is. Like I say, if you can't deal with that, you need to learn how to deal with that frustration as a supporter. Most of us have. The older you are, the more used to dealing with frustration you become.
But it's different, isn't it? So I think as Rotherham fans, I think as a general rule, we've all learned to deal with defeat. Right now, it feels, and this is maybe extreme, and this maybe it just feels like a lack of hope at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's really. I agree with you. It is extreme. It is. You're right. Absolutely. We're in October. We've not played.
I'm not saying we're not going to turn it around, but at the minute,
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Where's that positivity coming from away from home?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not. Maybe we will,
done
maybe
that.
we won't. But you know what? I'll tell you something. You know, in April, if we're still bottom with 5 points, I'll still be going.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't give it a consideration. It wouldn't be a thought not to go. And maybe that's just a sign of the times. Maybe that's a sign of different generations' attitudes towards the sport, towards games, whatever it is. I don't know. But it wouldn't even enter my head not to go. But you know, everybody's different. I can't help but feel I can't believe I'm being the positive one. I'm usually the one. I'm usually the one that's moaning and groaning about everything. Just keep the faith; it'll get better. We're going to be in a relegation scrap. There's no doubt about that. Probably.
That's football.
Listen, it's October, and if you think Middlesbrough are going to be in a relegation scrap, they've had a worse start than we've had. Then they're not going to be, are they? You know, Swansea had a bad start. They're not going to be in a relegation scrap, are they? We don't think so. Probably not. You know, so teams have bad starts. We've had a bad one. It's mitigated by the horrific injury list, but that's just an excuse, obviously. But it is. It's there. It's a fact. And you said we were very good defensively, or we were decent defensively at times on Saturday. We only had one defender on pitch.
Yeah.
But that's just an excuse. That's just an excuse. That's just nonsense. And I apologise for making excuses. Shouldn't use that.
Okay. Fair enough. In terms of the first goal, Mick, Cameron Bramall's obviously coming for stick because that's what happens.
Yeah.
I sort of shipped him as a centre back on the last episode.
Yeah,
that might be my fault. My fault that happened. But has he got to do better as a footballer in general and as a defender in general? Has he got to do better there, or is he? Etete is a man mounted. To be fair,
he has got to do better because he's let his man get the wrong side of him, and that's what's happened. But you know, he has. Let's not beat around the bush. He has, but as we've already alluded to before, you know, there were a number of other occasions that could have been stopped prior to it getting to him. But at that point, he's the last line of defence, and you can't really let your man get in front of you. So, yeah.
WC says we've had a bad start, but we're not good enough to rectify it. When you look at the whole performances.
We'll put a pin in that until we get players back from injury, I think.
Well, so we'll play at home, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine at home. The midfield, Danny, it's lacking Cafu. It's also lacking a Doffin for me as well. I think it gives you something different. I don't know what's wrong with Rathbone at the minute, but he is bang off it. And I can't... with Rathbone, it's maybe one of those players that when he's in the form, he's in the groove, and his runs are timed well and everything else. But everything in Rathbone's doing, it's just not working for some reason. And when it's not working for him, Rotherham United don't work particularly well normally.
I think it might be a case of Rathbone trying to do it all himself.
Possibly.
You know, because as the captain, he needs to try and get the team going on the pitch. And we know what Rathbone's like. He can run himself ragged and cover nearly every blade of grass. And I have noticed that in recent games, he always seems to be 100% running everywhere. Like last season when it worked, it's a credit, you know, because he's everywhere at once and he's putting tackles in and making runs and picking up the ball and fighting for it, this and other. But when he's the only one that's really putting a shift in, it almost goes the other way and it makes him look like he's having a mare, whereas actually I think he's trying a bit too hard. Because I thought Tahi was quite flat. He dished the ball out fairly well, but in terms of movement, it was quite flat. I thought Klukas was a little bit flat, if I'm being honest.
He didn't impact game, did he?
No, it was quite flat. And I just thought Rathbone was trying to do it all himself, which to me is almost a credit to him. Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes it don't work when you're doing it all yourself on the football pitch, and there's there's no support from the other two guys next to you. But it shows Rathbone cares. and that he's really digging deep to try and make something, And like I say, it's gone the other way now, where it actually comes off as bad on Rathbone because it's coming across as ineffective when he's actually trying too hard.
I think you're probably right. Nicola Juice's Rathbone kept chasing the ball right till the end. It just wasn't falling for him. Yeah, I'm certainly not digging at Rathbone. I'm not saying he's rubbish or anything like that. He's just not working for him, and it's just obvious for him. Shelley says here, is Rathbone a confidence player, do you think, or just missing Cafu? I don't think it's
the point.
We're missing Cafu.
Yeah.
What about last season? He carried us at times.
Yeah, he did, but he had somebody else with him in that central midfield winning the ball back. And because he's not had that help from Klukas, because I don't think really that's his game. It's certainly not Tahi's game. When Cafu's in there, that is his game. And they can bounce off each other. They're both combative midfielders. And Ollie Rathbone's been on his own in there, trying to sort of run the show. So I think possibly that has been an issue. And to be fair, when it comes to looking after the ball, that's where it starts, realistically. Although that's where it's maintained, should I say? And we've just not had that midfield competitiveness from the players that have been sat in there. I don't know, but I think that's probably why Rathbone's been not impacted the game the way he did before. I think Cafu is back for Wednesday by the sounds of it, all being well, so long as he gets through training on Monday. So we'll see a different team. Well, we know we'll see a different team or a different performance because we're at home, So yeah, that will help him. And obviously, Adopin's now out as well, so he's another player that complements Ollie Rathbone in that central area. At the moment, I don't think Sam Klukas is, but that's not to say that once he's fully fit, given the
he's still getting there, isn't
it? That may well change.
Speaking of Sam Klukas, like this is me going off on a rant tangent again, right? This might be like, please tell me if I'm wrong with this one, but when they were having corners in the second half, why is Sam Klukas a left-footed player taking the corners on the right side of the goal when it seems to be our in-swinging corners are better than the out-swingers? Surely it should be the other way round.
Well, when Cafu's fit, Cafu takes all of them, doesn't he? So I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but still, it's like if Cafu was the main taker, and fair enough, he is quite efficient on set pieces. Don't get me wrong, his free kicks incredible when it's on target, and he's quite good with his corners. Why have the left-footed player on the right side when our setup is for in-swingers, not out-swingers? Because Klukas was shocking on corners in the second half. But Andre Green was good. When Klukas went off and Green was on both sides, the corners got better. All right, fair enough. It were after 80 minutes, but they still got better.
Yeah. Shelley just says on the Rathbone, last season they had Dan Barlaser at times. Don't forget pulling the strings. I think true, and then Conor Coventry later on, and Jamie Lindsay, as I think you mentioned a minute ago, which we haven't got any of those. John Morell says, you hope, Mick, because if the home form drops off, then you're going to challenge your neighbours for the bottom spot. Yeah. And that's the pressure, Mick. That's the pressure it brings, and we'll move on to the home game in a minute. But this is the pressure it brings. If you're not going to pick up anything away from home or minimal points away from home, you have got to have a home form. Thankfully, we have so far.
Yeah, we have, and I don't see any reason at this stage for that to alter. We've got to take stock realistically once we can get at least 3 or 4 of those 8 injured players that are out back. Because all 8 arguably will be starters. Almost, except probably in the defensive area. So you can't really judge until that point. I don't think. We've just got to keep going until we can get people back, get bodies back, and that appears to be starting this week. And we've got an international break coming up, which hopefully will allow us to get some more players back off the treatment table. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of long termers with Cam Humphries being at the head of that, which is a shame. But look, it's going to be a long old season. Strap yourselves in. and enjoy it. Have a laugh.
Enjoy. Enjoy.
Enjoy it. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the attack.
We're playing in one of the best leagues in Europe.
Here we are.
With some of the best players outside of the Premier League. The quality of the football, for the most part, is way, way higher than League One, League Two, and a lot of the other leagues in Europe. It's competitive. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And we are the smallest fish in this pond. And we'll continue to be the smallest fish in this pond. But, enjoy it. Just enjoy it, for God's sake. Come on. It says, can you see how crap I am at this motivational talk?
You aren't the greatest.
I'm absolute garbage at it because I'm not used to it, but I'm having to flipping drag you lot along.
Adrak says, Mick, you sound like Taylor with the injury malarkey. No, I completely agree with Mick and the injury. Once we have some players fit, nobody in the league is going to have everybody fit all at once, and I don't think that's what Matt Taylor's saying, I assume. And that's certainly not what we're saying, Danny, that we've got to get, if we get half of these players fit back again, that's it. We're sorted. We've got a good squad. We've got options off the bench in most positions. Are we lucky? I don't know. But John says every club's got injuries at the minute. It's just our squad's so thin as it is anyway to start with.
Yeah, I think. You're only allowed to name 25, and that's every team, isn't it? I suppose. But again, it's down to the size and quality of those players within your 25, I suppose. But yeah, having the amount of injuries we've had in what seems like one position as well, by the way, it is going to have an impact on you. And all right, it's effective at times when it's just Blackett on his own with Bramall and Lemekisa either side of him. But I'll hold my tongue on how effective and how hurtful the injuries have been after we get those players back. Because if there's a huge improvement, we'll say, the injuries killed us. But if there's no improvement, it's like, where does it stop now? Where's the thing there? So I'm going to hold my tongue on that until the players are back, and if we see an improvement, we should do. Don't get me wrong. I think we will, but I'll just hold my tongue until we do.
I mean, ultimately, the injury thing is not it's not an opinion, is it? It is an actual fact. It's not one that it's not my opinion that we're struggling because we've got a lot of injuries. We've got a lot of injuries, fact. And those injuries consist of a lot of key players who would be first names on the team sheet. Again, that's not my opinion. That is a fact. It's not sort of so just because Matt Taylor's using it as an excuse in inverted commas, I don't know how you can say it's an excuse when these players are first team starters and they're injured. That is a fact. You know what I mean? So look, as John said in the comments there earlier on, Birmingham have got the same issue. Other clubs have all got the same issue in terms of injuries, but they've also got millions of pounds to spend on players, and players that are worth millions of pounds who are probably at a higher level to the ones that we've got. So our key players are far more important to us than they are to the likes of Leicester or Birmingham or other clubs of that sort of ilk. That's a fact. Again, there's nothing we can do about that. That's just who we are. So, yeah, I don't know.
John S. wants to know if you're sponsored by Matt Taylor. If not, are you available for sponsorship?
Yeah, I'm available for sponsorship. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what I can give that I can offer, but yeah. No, listen. I just tried to take a bit of a step back because I feel as annoyed as everybody else. I'll kick cat and everything else after we lose a game away from home and the performance is not great, and it's just so frustrating and annoying. I get that, but there's always a bigger picture. There's always another side to the story, and I don't think it's right just to stamp your feet like I do at the end of every game when we lose but then continue to stamp it and try and blame somebody else for the way that you're feeling, the way that I'm feeling after a game. My own fault. I need to throw up and get a grip, you know. But anyway.
Okay. Shelley says, Dan, I'll come to this one because we know the happy clapper up there. I know what I'll say to this. Shelley says, so at what point do we start panicking? Cam missing is absolutely devastating. Injuries are killing us, and we need certain players back. Have you looked in terms of your view on it? Have you looked and sort of said, right, God, you know, if we're still have this away form in X day and he's not back by then, or is it just a matter of boringly taking it a game at a time?
I mean, at the minute, it's take it a game at a time until we've got more or less full strength back. Like fair enough, Humphreys will be the longer of the bunch. Yeah. But when we've got a few more defenders back, fighting fit, shall we say, then I'll put a date on it, because even with that, Humphreys should be back before the January transfer window, right? It's no, is it like a longer stint than that?
Long term, it could be February, March. From what Matt Taylor said, what I read from it could be towards the end of the season.
Right. Okay. So then, in that case, it is a game by game thing, because at least with January we could sign somebody else on a free to come in and as cover, or something else like we did. What we did last season. But yeah, it has to be a game by game thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a bit of panic stations where, like, and I swear the players over, because it echoed round the stands, me bellowing at them to press the ball when I'm telling them what to do, as someone who has very limited footballing manager knowledge outside of FIFA, right? And then suddenly
you're trying to fish for a paycheck here, Danny. Is that what you're doing?
Maybe. Right. If someone wants to pay for me to do my UEFA B license, I'm more than happy to contribute to it. But there were a bit of panic stations there. But as a whole, it has to be game by game, because if you put a date on it, and again, if this is with the club as well, if they put a date on it, it's just setting yourself up for failure anyway.
Yeah.
You just have to take it. I have to take it game by game, because if you don't, then you could say, in a case of someone up the road, if we're not in the Premier League in 10 years' time, I'm chucking my toys out the pram.
What on earth are you referencing here, Danny? What do you mean?
I don't know. That's for everyone to work out for themselves.
We could do another podcast just on that, really, just to try and take everybody's mind off it.
We could, but the problem with it would be, I think people will get bored on about 37 minutes of just laughter.
Yeah.
Or just a laughing track of us all the time.
Yeah. And just that statement on repeat.
Yeah.
John S says we play his local side, Southampton, on Saturday. Their defence is far worse, 4-4. And we'll talk about this next week, but it'll be typical Rotherham to get thumped on Wednesday
4 goals,
and then go and beat Southampton. It will be typical Rotherham to go and do that.
It's funny, that's exactly what the Saints podcast said as well. It'd be so typical if you went and beat them 1-0 somehow, but I can't see it.
No, I don't think it'll happen, but it'd be typical. Yeah. Anything else? We've got a question about strikers. Shelley says, what do you think about Georgia has to do to get more game time? He's popped up a few decent last season. He put himself in a good position on Saturday, Mickey. Nearly towards the end of the game, he was pretty unlucky not to get a goal at the end. But Nombe's always going to come on in front of him. He's back up to third choice. He seems to be in front of Eves. Yeah. I struggled with Nombe yesterday. Nombe looked like he's never played with a second striker. He's constantly getting in the other strikers' way in terms of winning the ball.
Yeah.
Does he need more game time so Nombe can get used to playing football? Because he's not played many minutes for Exeter Pre coming to us.
I'm beginning to lose my patience a little bit with Jordan Hugill at the moment. We know he's a goal scorer. We know he can score goals, but you know my view on this anyway. He spends so much time trying to buy fouls and buy free kicks, and I don't think he's realised he needs to look down at the badge on his shirt, because it isn't a Norwich badge anymore where you can just fall over and get a free kick. It's a Rotherham United badge. And you need to be assaulted, you need to be smacked in the face and have a nosebleed to get a... Oh, no, you need more than that, in actual fact. Hopefully that might be a wake-up call for him on Saturday when he gets punched in kite and still don't get anything for it. it's really frustrating me, Jordan Hugill, because for those reasons, he's not impacting the game because he's too busy trying to buy fouls. I think it's time possibly for him to, given we're not playing any of his old teams in the next few weeks, maybe we should swap him out perhaps and give him a bit of a rest.
Has Nombe done enough to earn a start?
As what? Sorry,
has Nombe done enough to earn a start?
I'm not sure he has. We've not seen very much of him, have we? We've not seen very much of him. So I don't know. My jury's out into it on Nombe at the moment, just on the basis that we've not seen enough of him. He's not had a run in the team. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is up there. But at the moment, the way he's performing, Jordan Hugill is not the answer, in my view. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying, that's absolutely right or as a fact, but it's just frustrating to watch him throw himself on deck and make no attempt to find ball.
Yeah, fair enough. Phil says you've got to stop criticising players.
Oh God, yeah. Oh no,
Happy clapper.
Oh, I'll show me true colours there, haven't I?
Billy Vernon says, not that Nombe hasn't done enough, it's the fact that Hugill hasn't done anything to stay there. Let's sort of move forward, Danny, to obviously Wednesday that's coming up against Bristol City at home, which is live on Sky. If you're not going, I do recommend you go to get behind the team, but if you're not going, obviously it is available on Sky. With Lee Hendry or somebody like that. If that's not sort of incentive enough to go to the game, I don't know what is. That Lee Hendry might on co-commentary. But Danny, Mick mentions Jordan Hugill. I think he's need to be dropped. Could you see Matt Taylor doing that? Matt Taylor, I'm not even sure he has ever dropped Jordan Hugill. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure he has dropped Jordan Hugill since he came to the club. Could you see that happening?
Well, I think game at Cardiff was probably the earliest we've seen Hugill come off the pitch.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So maybe it's maybe it's going that way. I mean, personally, I hope he does because we really do need something fresh up top now, starting wise, anyway. Because there was a comment earlier that we've not scored in 4 games now? Bristol, Millwall.
Okay, Preston.
Oh yeah, we scored against Preston. Oh, all right, so, barring a Hugill wonder strike, we've not scored. We've not scored in a fair bit without a wonder strike being involved. And I think it does take someone like Nombe and like Kelly, who were a bit unorthodox, still a bit raw, but like they put the fight in, and like you say, they don't go down a bit too easily at times. So I would like to see the switch. And I really hope they do make the switch because I'll be sneaking and watch at work on Wednesday via Sky. So I hope I can walk past the till and go, oh my God, we're 1-0 up.
Yeah. Cheryl Stone says, surprised that the ref didn't make Hugill go off with a nosebleed. That would mean the referee accepting that something happened. That's the problem with that, Cheryl. NG, it was very clever from NG. It's not, he did it in the blind spot of the line, or he did it in the blind spot of the referee. He was very clever about what he did in terms of hitting. I would expect the FA to do retrospective action on that, to be honest with you, because there's no doubt in my mind that was intentional.
Yeah.
But
and he went on to score second goal.
It did go and score second goal.
Yeah.
Funny that, isn't it? How that
I've seen that somewhere before this season. For us, but anyway, that's another story.
Bristol City come into this game on the back of a 3-2 loss to Stoke. They were 2-0 up at home to Stoke, and then went on to lose 3-2 in the 90-something minute. Potentially a dangerous team to play teams like that, Mick. They're a middling team. They're a team who aren't probably not going to hurt the playoffs. They're almost certainly not going to trouble the relegation zone. They were an unpleasant team to play last season. They dirtied the game up somewhat rotten at our place, but they went away with a 3-1 win. And that it was a deserved win. They were so much better than us last season. As Matt Taylor said previously, these type of games, he uses the phrase unstructured, but essentially teams who dirty up a little bit, we really struggle. And that if that's going to be the same again, we're at home though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we are. And despite the fact that we lost 3-1 to them, they were by a country mile the worst team we played at home last season. by a country mile, and that just shows how bad we were on that particular night, or how we were unable to deal with them. Have they still got that lad who throws himself about on the floor all the time, or has he gone for multi-million?
Bournemouth, didn't he? He went to Bournemouth and got injured.
Yeah,
like that.
What did he do? Trip over his socks or something? Anyway, yeah, it's difficult to know, isn't it? It's difficult to know how they're going to approach this game. You're right. Obviously, being 2-0 up and then losing 3-2, they're going to have had a right rocket from Pearson's still their manager, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's got a bad leg, I think.
Has he? Yeah, he's been on crutches, hasn't he? Yeah. So yeah, but he is that kind of manager, isn't he? That will dirty up a game if necessary. With our home form being what it is, I'm reasonably comfortable with it. I'm not, we're not. I'm going to say we're not playing a Leicester or a Norwich. We're probably better off playing a Leicester or a Norwich out, to be fair, because we perform so much better against teams like that. Yeah, don't know. It's hopefully we're going to have Cafu back. Hopefully we're going to be able to get Grant Hall on the pitch. Peltier came on Saturday and did all right when he came on. So we've got that defensive area starting to look like it might get plugged a little bit in the next couple of games. Hopefully that'll help us out. But I'm quite looking forward to it. I think we'll be all right on Wednesday night. I'm reasonably confident.
I think our record on Sky recently is okay as well in the Championship. Richard Brown says they won't be scared of us. Now, Danny, I don't think anybody wants to come to New York Stadium at the minute. I think we've made it a place where teams don't want to come. They'll be very happy to players in their own back garden. But when we are giving people a really, really tough time, the top teams in the league, in Leicester or Preston a couple of weeks ago, Norwich, these teams are not having it their own way at New York Stadium. They will not want to come here.
No. What games have we played at New York Stadium? Blackburn drew, and that was circumstantial. Lost to Leicester, but only just. Beat Norwich, drew with Preston.
Beat Morecambe.
Yeah, and Morecambe that would be on penalties, which are a bit. And speaking of which, we saw the Morecambe team bus on the way home. So that was fun. But yeah, I mean, I won't exactly say New York Stadium's like a proper fortress at the moment, but we have only lost one game there, and that was a game that we really took the game to him. Maybe that's why it, just thinking outside the box a little bit here, but maybe that's why it's so hot and cold when it comes to away form, because we actually put a proper grinding shift in when we're at home compared to being quite fragile away. Maybe that's why it's so opposite end of the spectrum. But at the same time, I don't think teams will fear coming to New York Stadium, but they'll certainly know what they're up against, and that can cast doubt into their minds, which can be beneficial to us. And I think Norwich is the example where we exploited that. And the other games, Blackburn, we exploited it very well until things hit the fan quite quickly.
Mr. Madley.
Yeah. And I think we did it to Leicester as well, but that was just one of them games where they were just better than us, quality-wise. And the same with Preston. Off the back of the Millwall game, we went to the Preston game, and it's like, actually, it still weren't the best, but we dug out a result against Preston. So maybe we'll do the same with Bristol, or they'll just we'll still back off and they'll steamroll us, to quote one of their comments. I'm actually quite gutted I'm not going, to be fair, because it's one of them games where it feels like we need support there early doors to really get the team going again. And it's at home, which is also beneficial, but I still think we need to pull away from level, at least in some part, to where we are at home as well. But I don't think Bristol City will fear us. I won't say that. They'll just.
I don't think anybody fears anything, do they? Really, it's just a matter of understanding it's not a nice place to go and play football, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Ref watch. Well, I said ref watch. I'll tell you who's scheduled to referee us, but again, they changed lead out on Saturday, and also Darren England. It was meant to be refereeing in the Championship this week. That won't be happening after the Liverpool fiasco on Saturday, so there will be a change around probably. The referee that's scheduled is Dean Whitestone. I will pick up a couple of stats. I haven't looked at him because of my change around. Side note: the referee, the fourth official, is the referee who we have ref at last home game. He's now fourth official. Dean White's the last referee does in the Blackburn game, the 4-0 last season. Sorry. I take that. Yeah. Mick, thoughts on the Bristol City game coming up? We talk about home form, and we've been very good. We weren't great against Preston. We were all right. I think we earned the point, but we weren't very good against Preston. So does that concern you that that's maybe a continuation of that? Sorry.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be fine. I think hopefully we'll have a couple of players back as well from injury, fingers crossed, which will significantly boost the leadership on the pitch, the experience on the pitch, and
boost fans as well.
Say again?
It'll boost fans as well. If Cafu starts,
yeah, precisely. So no, I'm reasonably comfortable with it. I'm not. I don't see us capitulating like we did at Millwall. We didn't even capitulate. We didn't even get as far as capitulation at Millwall, did we? You know, to do that, you've got to turn up and show something, and we didn't even do that. So I'm reasonably comfortable. The home form has been very, very good. I would argue we didn't play as well against Preston because they didn't allow us to.
Preston are better than Bristol City, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. They kind of muckied the game up, didn't they, as well? The teams that we've done really well against are the teams that try and play football. You know,
True.
With Norwich as your Leicester, your Blackburn, and with certainly with teams like Blackburn, I use the word try advisedly. Whereas Norwich and Leicester can actually do it. We seem to play better against teams like that. Perhaps that's because they underestimate us because of their quality. I don't know. Hopefully, Pearson will bring his team here and underestimate us. Fingers crossed, because he's got that sort of air of arrogance about him, hasn't he? John Pearson, and that's not a criticism. That's a compliment, if anything. You know.
Yeah.
But he was also his experienced manager. Will have done his own work, so I know that our home form's pretty decent. So, but I'm reasonably comfortable. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right on Wednesday night.
Fair enough. Reg says, I think he's the referee who didn't give the Ogbene penalty against Norwich last season at home. Yes, he is. I've just checked. He was the referee that didn't give the penalty after a scythe down at home to Norwich last season with a 2.
Is he the one that booked Ogbene for
diving?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah. Scheduled. James Bell was subbed in for Lee Doughty.
Yeah.
So again, expect. I don't know why they tell. It's going to change. I don't know why they tell us, to be honest with you. It's a complete waste of time. But that's the least of the PJ Wells problems, I suppose.
Yeah, they've got enough on the plate, haven't
they? Finish on this. But Saran Kumar, says, when's Cafu back? If he gets through training on Monday, Matt Taylor says he should be in contention for Wednesday, and because he's not been out for too long. What I read into it was there's a chance that Cafu could start. I think it's unlikely, extremely unlikely we will risk Grant Hall from the off with Peltier being back, but needs might must. I don't know. Scott Kent says, we need to switch formation. In my opinion, seriously don't like 4-3-3. I think 4-3-3 is the best what we've got at the minute. We all want to see 2 strikers up top. We all want to see that. But we can't. Where are you going to take that body from? You're going to take a body from the centre midfield and be outnumbered there. You're going to take a number away from the defence when we need to be packed in there. I think 4-3-3 ticks all the boxes at the minute, personally.
Yeah, I mean, we started with a back 5 at Cardiff, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I think in certain situations the back 5 works, but also in certain situations the back 4 works as well. I think if you were going to start Peltier or Hall or whoever, you would possibly go with the 4 and have Peltier as your right-sided centre back. But at the same time, if we do want to stick with 3 at the back, Peltier can also be right-sided centre back. I feel like I said this last time on the podcast as well.
All we do is repeat ourselves.
Yeah, so it's like both systems work. To be in their own special way, both systems, well, works definitely the wrong word, but they accommodate. We'll use that. They accommodate in their own ways, right? So I think it's dependent on how we want to start the game. Do we want to switch it up and keep the two at the top because Bristol play a 4-3-3. Like, do we want to try and combat that a bit more with the 5 at the back, but the 2 up top? Or do we want to completely match up Bristol and get in the faces quite hard and match formation with them and see if we can accommodate it properly with the back line, with Peltier right centre back, then Lemmy-Keeser on that side and Bramall on the left side of Blackett. If Cafu's back, I think the 3 midfield accommodates him quite well. Yeah. But again, both systems use the 3 in midfield, so. But it's like, where do we want to put Onyedinma? Do we want to have him sat further back as your almost wing back, or do we want him as your wider attacking player? But then it calls into question: is it Nombe or is it Hugo in the middle? Because I want to see Nombe up there, but as we've discussed, does he suit a 2 because he gets in the way of the other person? So it's like there's a lot of questions to answer there, in my opinion. But we seem to do better with 4-3-3 at home.
Yeah, we do. Shelley says 4-3-3 doesn't look good because Andre Green isn't an out-and-out winger, so occasionally he looks lost. That's where we miss Fergie. Alvin Appy got the raviest of reviews from Saturday from Matt Taylor, so potentially could there be a start there for him because obviously he is an out-and-out winger who should fit quite nicely into a 4-3-3 in terms of what I've seen from him so far. Don't know. Chav says 4-1-4-1. Don't like that. Again, you're basically leaving yourself one up top. I don't particularly like that. Obviously, it works well if you can work it well. Don't think our players are set for that. To be honest, we may well see that. Sharon Sukumar says the best thing about Cardiff game has to be Danny on the away day sleep.
I was so annoyed when I saw that on Facebook, because I said to people, I got in at 1 o'clock in the morning from work. Do not take pictures of me. I am having a snooze. And what happens? I have pictures took of me and they end up on away day sleepers, Facebook and Instagram. But I actually quite suit the style, as one person in their comments said. So it's like, actually, you know what? That can be my picture on Twitter. Why not?
Being asleep.
Yes, with my hat down and just crossed arms, because actually that's a good tactic to have. If everyone's a kip on an away day and not have someone violate you with like a piece of paper or something and they try and put it in your mouth, always sleep with your head down. Because another lad fell asleep when we tried to put a Jaffa cake in his mouth.
Yeah, we will go from there. Right, anything, just a couple of comments on here. Shelley says, not Rotherham emulated anything, but what about farce VIR yesterday? Just we're glad Rotherham will probably never be good enough to have VIR relevant to us.
I'm quite gutted, if I'm honest. Because given the fact that Forest and Brentford drew 1-1 today, a 2-2 yesterday would have made me quite a significant amount of sum of money.
Would it have made you as much as that guy who lost out on £9,000 because of Luis Diaz not goal being disallowed?
It would have been just over half that, yeah.
Really? Look at Mr. Gambler over there. I'm not gambling.
So gambling, it weren't. They were just freebies.
Oh,
just freebies. But anyway, there you go. They've not done very well, have they? And I see Howard Webb getting loads and loads of earache, and here's the man who's telling everybody what's going on. We knew nothing before he got there. You knew nothing about what happened in the PJMOL. You knew nothing about what happened in the VAR room. You knew nothing about what happened to referees after games when they performed badly. Now you do. But all of a sudden it's his fault. Bizarre, isn't it? It's absolutely bizarre. You're getting a lot more transparency. You're getting a lot more information coming forward. You're getting told when the mistakes have been made as opposed to just assuming that they've been made. And then you're also getting told about what's happened to the people who've made the mistakes. And all of a sudden, still, that's not good enough. Bizarre, really.
Yeah, that was particularly bad, the Liverpool one. But that's not on how but let's maybe not get into it.
We've seen Darren England in full flow before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
We know he's not up to the job, but he can't just go in there and sack everybody who's not up to the job because he'll have nobody left.
Well, they'll go to Saudi Arabia, as it turns out.
So it's going to take some time. I have full confidence. I know he's a Rotherham fan, so I'm going to back him, aren't I? You know, but I have full confidence in him getting it right. But it's not going to be a season's job.
It's also worth noting out that the rules aren't set by the FA or however they're set by the IFAB and Premier League.
you said set. I mean, they changed every other week by them, aren't they? By that time, but yeah, I mean it was a farce that yesterday. I can't get my head around how it's even possible to make a mistake like that. I can't think, and I thought about it, trying to come up with a set of circumstances whereby that sort of mistake could actually happen. Short of being like Danny on the away day sleepers, that's the only reason. That's the only one I can think of. You know, I can't honestly. I can't think of any reasonable explanation. So it's got his work cut out, but I tell you now, he'll sort it.
It proves American standards, and that's all you can obviously base him on. So it's give him time. Time. Somebody wants to know our comments on the Wednesday fans situation. I'm not even going to bother comment on them two clowns, to be honest with you.
Although there has been a development, apparently they've been arrested.
Apparently, that's as much information, ongoing court case and things like that we shouldn't mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everybody understands what our thoughts will be, and let's leave that to your imagination. Predictions, Michael, Mr. Positive, Mr. Happy Clapper. 2-0?
Yes. 2-0.
2-0. Clean sheet. Clean sheet. Danny, clean sheet?
1-1.
I'm going to reverse. I'm going to 3-1. Nice and positive. It'd be typical. We've got to get this home form right. There's a lot of pressure to get this right. If we take a drubbing on Wednesday, we are right under Kosh in terms of pressure. For the players and the management, they come under a lot of pressure. They've got to get it right, unfortunately. Chav says 2-0 to the Millers. Powerwed says 2-1. John Morell says it'll be 1-1 and Sam Bell will score for them. Yeah, it's a big game, but I suppose every game in this level is a big game, isn't it? It's not any bigger than the Preston game. It's not any bigger than Southampton is on Saturday. I don't think we're anywhere near that stage of the season, personally. Do you two guys agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Sangram says 2-1 can't keep his clean sheet. I think I agree with that. Reg says 4-1 to Bristol City.
Oh, come on, Reg.
Reg, if we win on Wednesday, I want to see every single one of your predictions say 4-1 for the rest of the season.
Reg needs to have his Happy Clapper badge in at a desk on my arm.
Nicola Jew says 2-0 to the Millers. Shelley says we will keep a clean sheet. Think a clean sheet is also crucial for morale. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Says 2-1. And we need other clubs like Birmingham to do us a favour and hopefully beat Huddersfield, although a decent start under Mr. Moore. I think we're done. Anything else?
Yeah,
Anything else you want to mention, talk about?
Just two more. There's two little things from the Cardiff game. It was my first experience of safe standing. And I really, really like it, if I'm being honest. And also, the one I know I've criticised Cardiff for their catering and how it gave me food poisoning, but your toilets are lovely, so fair play.
I'm not a fan of safe standing.
I'm not a fan of theirs. I didn't like that.
I to last night. We went to see ratings last night, and I was safe standing for the whole of that, and my back's killing me today. So I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I would say if you're ever down about Rotherham games, go and see ratings live because they were spectacular at the Sheffield Arena.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, wonderful, and that cheered me right up.
It did me as well. Did me. I'm a 58-year-old man who did not want to go and watch some 19, 20-year-old lads bouncing around on stage. They were fantastic.
Are we going to see you at Tramlines in the summer, mate?
No, you won't.
Yeah. So if you get a chance to do it, I do recommend those. I recommend ratings and download the music event already. They don't nothing to do with us, obviously, but local boys support them because they are very, 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 very good.
Yes.
Danny, you've done two things, haven't you?
Yeah, he's done his two things.
Yeah.
That's fine. Right. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. I know these episodes when we lose are tough at times, and Miles says I'm certain it will turn around at some point, or I certainly hope it will. Stick with them. If like we mentioned a bit ago, it's on Sky, and I know that's great. But if you have got a season ticket and you haven't got a ticket, go down Wednesday and try and make a noise. Atmosphere and Preston were poor. Let's try and make a bit of noise. Try and make it a tough place for the opposition to play in and support the fans. Even if we go 1-0 down, stay with the players, support them. because they need it. They desperately need our support at the minute. And let's hopefully get to the international break with some points. I don't know whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it's going to be. Not probably 5. But let's hope we get something, some reward for supporting the players through these tough times. Danny, thank you very much for being with us tonight, and I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be better tomorrow, so I can shuffle off to work and earn a bit of money. But yeah, I'll be right.
And Mick, I hope you've. I don't know. I hope you well.
You'll grow some hair.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice for you. It'd be odd for us to see you with hair, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Reg asked if we are until we're on Sky. I think I'm not sure of a main event. It's still 8 o'clock kickoff. If anybody didn't know, it's slightly later than normal. We will probably do an instant reaction. Almost certainly do an instant reaction on Wednesday. Then I obviously won't be there because it's working, but we'll still try and get one in if we possibly can. And thank you. Please subscribe. You're on YouTube. Please do subscribe. We'll try and get a scouting report done for Bristol City. I haven't done one yet because we've just been busy. But I will try and get one done before Wednesday. And same, we'll try and get a Southampton one done before the weekend as well. Make sure you'll subscribe on YouTube. Like the video if that's where you're watching. If you're on iTunes and Spotify, again, please do subscribe or follow us wherever you are listening, and give us a 5-star rating if it allows you to do so. I think there's something I forgot, but I can't think what it is. So we'll save it for next time. Thank you for being with us. Up the Millers and get behind us on Wednesday night. Thank you for watching.
Up the Millers.
It's a Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box to Doffin, he can hit them, and he does. The Doffin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.